where we just talk about some of the issues about habitat gardening. I share some tips and tricks, and hopefully you'll learn something useful. Now we're going to touch on we're going to revisit a few things we've talked about in the last few weeks. And let me try. I'm trying out a new stream setup today, so I'll just get rid of that comment for that banner for a minute. Now, Glenn, thank you for your comment. I'm going to cover your comments in a moment. Please let me know how the audio is this morning. I'm doing things differently than normal, trying to get a bit more control on the volume levels, because on some of the outlets, some of the platforms, it's been a bit quiet. So let me know, Glenn. I'm relying on you because I know you're here somewhere. Since you've hit us out with a comment, let's start with Glenn's comment, hey, because we were talking about, we mentioned last week. Oh, that's good. So it's louder. Hello, Naomi. Nice to see you here. That's good because yeah. Anyway, that's too much housekeeping. Who's hit us up with the Facebook love? Thank you, Naomi. I am monitoring Instagram as well, so let me get over there. So I'll try and spend some time talking to Instagram people too if they're here. So. All right, it's cold here this morning. Let me have a look at the app. Glenn, thank you. 14 degrees in Sydney. I'm in the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people. Naarm, Melbourne, southeast Australia. And if I look at my weather app right now, I can tell you, well, it's 10.1, but it feels like 1.7, and I'm going with the feels like, because it is very, very, very cold. Glenn's telling me the audio sounds a little bit distorted. Maybe I'm riding the gain too much. Let me just pull that back. Has that cleared it up any better, Glenn? I'm using the very first audio interface that I bought when I started doing the Bird Emergency podcast. So we're going back to 2014 or 2015 or 2016, and I've just been holding on to it. In between, I've had more expensive and better things, but I've sold them along the way, especially when I was traveling. I just had too much gear. So I've gone back to this thing I bought. Oh, it was so cheap when I bought it, like compared to what they are now. Anyway, if it doesn't hold up, I'll listen back to the recordings, and if I don't think it's any good, I'll go back to the way it was. But I am able to push out a bit more level, which is what I was looking for. Anyway, it's really cold here. That was the point when I was saying. So Naomi's telling me that in Sydney, or in the foothills of the Blue Mountains, it feels like 4 degrees when the wind blows. We've got a bit of a drizzly, overcast day, but it's really cold. Well, Glenn, since you're telling me that's still a little bit, let me ease back. How about that? Because I know I was pushing it, and it may break up. Just tell me if it's. I just don't want to lose the output. Let me know. Let me know what you reckon. Okay. Now, the topic this morning that I wanted to talk about, but I've got a few things to to cover. What's the most successful thing that you have done up till now in your garden that you feel has worked and has brought in wildlife into your garden? So we'll just go a bit more on the weather reports. Naomi's saying 11 degrees here with wind 34 to 73 k's. Yeah, so that is chilly, no doubt about it. Let's go back to what Glenn was saying about his garden. In the Botanic Gardens, 14 degrees, Mount Annan Botanic Gardens. Glenn is a guide out there on Saturday mornings and taking lots of photos. Should plug. If you're interested in Glenn's photos, you could check out the episode of Photography Friday, which you will find here on the Bird Emergency channel on YouTube, somewhere in the archives on Facebook, but the Bird Emergency on YouTube is the best place to find any of that. Let's see, Thursday, they carried out a cultural burn in part of the woodland. Okay, well, Glenn, I'd be interested in your comments to see how much what it looks like. The really good thing, if you can get the low temperature burn going, is you can get a whole lot of vigour out of those lilies and the little plants that you never notice in a woodland setting. So that's cool. Okay, new comments down here. Let's see. Is it too distorted when I get close to the mic, Glenn? Is that what we're saying? I'm just trying to be a little bit closer so that we don't have to push the gain so much. When I don't have the mic close to me, anyway. Enough housekeeping. Naomi has said, most successful thing, planting paper daisies. It seems to attract heaps of insects and the little insectivores. Okay, so Naomi, that's great. The different paper daisies all have different habits too with their foliage. So I know, like the snowy paper daisy, Helipterum, that can form quite a dense mat where you'll get a moister sort of environment, and you can get lots of things growing under there, or living under there, not growing under there. How about the sort of more rigid and more upright paper daisies? Have you noticed a difference? And do you get many leaf-eating insects? Like, you're getting grasshoppers and caterpillars in there, or any sapsuckers? What have you noticed? And while we've got that up here, I'll go back and see if anyone's commented on Instagram. No Instagram comments. Instagram folks, I'll let you know, the stream only goes for an hour on Instagram. Hopefully we're not going to be too much longer today. I probably would like to get under the covers or something when we finish up. And it's, in terms of comments and things, it's a little bit more difficult when I'm multi-streaming to different platforms with Instagram. But let's, Glenn, thank you for your input today. I've only because of the way the messages work, I can't get all the photos for the live stream. I can only get one. So what we're going to do is show what Glenn sent me. This is the one. Here we go. Let's bring that in. So there's my Instagram. That's what Glenn has sent me this morning. That's his frog hotel that we were referencing last week. Now, as you can see, it's really easy to make habitats for frogs. Now, you don't need to do the multi-stand approach. You just need to create gaps that will retain humidity and where they have access to moisture. So, hollow branches, anything with a space for them to get into, it can suffice. But this is a really, really good thing to do if you can find building waste. Anyone who's doing renos, anyone that's building new houses around your area will probably, if you catch the tradesman and you say to them, look, if you've got any PVC pipe offcuts or anything where you've made a mistake with the gluing and you need to chuck out elbows or anything, just please send them over, or, pick them up, just ask them to save them, and you can make a lot of little nooks and crannies, not only for frogs, but mainly for frogs. Okay, so Naomi is also, let's take that out. So Naomi has said she's noticed the difference with the different coloured ones. Yeah, lots of leaf-eating insects on them, and a lot of insect hunters. Yeah, I would expecting that you would have seen some mantids, and I'd be expecting you'd be finding things like katydids and leaf hoppers, and on the undersides of the leaves, you often find lots of things like the vine hoppers sucking the juices. They're a lot like aphids. Naomi says, my frogs live in the elephant ears near my pond. Yeah, well, you'll find, again, those elephant ears, allocasia, creating a lot of shade, and because of that, lots of moisture underneath, and tree frogs love them. And Glenn says, often find frogs in the compost bins. That's cool. Wow, it's nice to see. We're getting some views on extra views on YouTube. Now, this is just a bit of housekeeping, but I'm letting the regular bird emergency viewers know that I'm testing out the new habitat gardening channel, and I'm trying to rename it today so that it is more in line with habitat gardening. At the moment, I think it's called Great Gardening with Grant or something, I think, because Habitat Gardening with Grant or Habitat Gardening was not available. But I'm going to keep trying to get Habitat Gardening, or maybe, I don't know. And then when that channel is sort of set up and I've done all the artwork and everything for it, I will be moving the streaming over there so that the algorithm on the Bird Emergency is no longer going to be too confused about what the channel is all about. So just letting you know, and that it would be Habitat Gardening with Grant is what the that channel is called. Let me just I'm just going to bring it up, and I'm going to encourage you all to go and Oh, amazing. Oh, no, now. Oh, sorry, just confusing myself. I was getting getting feedback, and I thought, oh, I'm hearing more in my, um, oh, that, sorry for pasting something rubbish in the chat. It was supposed to be the link to the YouTube channel, but it wasn't. So it's the code. Um, let's get back. So you can go and please, if you would like to, please go and subscribe. Even though there's nothing on the channel yet, I haven't done any artwork. I haven't done the description. I've done nothing. I just set it up, and I thought I'll just send the stream there. Then I don't have to upload it later on. Habitat Gardening with Grant on YouTube. Yes, please. And when we start doing habitat gardening, let me also tell you, while there's just us, our friends here, I'm probably going to change the time, or I might just have to add another streaming time as well. I don't know, but I've reached out to so many guests in the last little while, and the 9:30 a.m. just seems to be a problem for people. So I thought it would be easy. I thought it would be a good time, but it doesn't seem like it's working out that well for guests. So maybe we'll keep this time just for having chats and Q&A, and Q&A that I answer. And if any guests are available, we'll do that. And if they're not, maybe it seems to be that later in the afternoon or even in evenings, weekday evenings, might be preferable. But let's just play it by ear. But I'll just let you know that the habitat gardening streams will be happening on the Habitat Gardening channel. It'll probably take a month before I until I stop streaming on the Bird Emergency channel for Habitat Gardening. So, and then I can sort of put some more effort into doing the Instagram and everything more properly. Anyway, so good morning if you're on Instagram, or if you're looking at it later on. Hi, we do this every Saturday morning. Other thing too, what else should I tell you that's been updated? New comments. Let me go down to new comments. Naomi, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Don't worry about it now, Naomi and everyone. What I will do? Okay, here's the easiest way, so that I'm not spamming stuff. All the other. I'll tell you why I'm doing this, because I've always been keen to be streaming to more like multi-streaming, just so that I don't have to do 10 streams a week to say the same thing to all the potential people out there. But the algorithms now are penalising you if they can tell that you're multi-streaming, and they do match the content. Like if they can see that you're streaming to like I am, Facebook and Instagram, and it's the same content, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, well, Facebook makes it invisible for later on. People don't find it. So I'm going to drop the Facebook streams, but I'm going to put more short videos from previous streams and previous interviews onto Facebook as small videos. But for streaming, it's going to be on YouTube and Twitch and Instagram for a while. And then the plan is to do separate Instagram lives. It's just not working. I can't put the comments up in Instagram and whatnot. So I think and I don't think there's a lot of crossover. I know, Glenn, you're on Instagram and you're sending me messages on Instagram, but you're also on the other two, and the YouTube is just much better. So I would like to, just for you guys, I would like to do these things better. I would like to make the streams better and have more time to make the production better, and spend more time doing I'd like to spend more time chasing guests and polishing it up a bit. And I've been running the experiment, the multi-streaming, for long enough to know that YouTube is where the new viewers and the discovery are coming in. So anyway, that's why I would like to keep it going, the multi-streaming, but it's not having the impact I would like. And I need to find a way to make it have more impact. Otherwise, I could change the format, which I might do. Thanks, Glenn. Yeah. I got stop doing the ums. Yeah. I'm just having a rethink. I might tell you too, if you're interested in, I've been having a look at all of the stuff, all the analytics on the bird emergency, and taking some comments from other people who, unless they're people that are, look, I'm going all around the joint today. I get a lot of helpful feedback from people, but I doubt that they're ever actually watching the stuff. So I don't know. Well, I probably shouldn't take too much of it to hand, but all the experts are telling me that I'm confusing the message for the algorithms on the bird emergency, and maybe I am. So there will soon. And by soon, I'm hoping even next week, that a lot of the comment stuff, newsy kind of stuff, is going to move also to another channel. I will simulcast it or simultaneously stream it to the bird emergency for a little while, but then I'll again encourage you to move over. If you want more of my comment and my controversy, you will find that on another channel, which is also going to be mainly interview based, and I'm rejigging a show that I used to do called Not Just Another Podcast, but that is going to be far more about issues and politics and policy, and a lot more real directly relevant stuff about climate change, and I'll also be interviewing people that I think have made really significant contributions to something that I think is worthwhile. I'm leaving that open to be pretty broad, but that will be the two streams of that. And let me tell you that that is not just another podcast, and I will put all these in the community tab on the Bird Emergency channel, and I'll also be putting this out into Substack, Buy Me a Coffee, and Patreon. And I think I've decided that those platforms will be more branded towards me, and not the Bird Emergency. That way I can put more stuff into it, and I can actually do a newsletter that maybe one day I am writing about habitat, gardening, council policies. We're talking about that in a minute. And maybe another day I'm talking about the difference in the speed of the rollout for renewable energy projects in Australia compared to some places in Europe, and the challenges we face with that. And then sometimes it'll just be amazing people that have had an impact on the way I think about life. So there we go. You can choose to come over to those. I think those things will be a bit more fun in a lot of the way, even though it feels heavy. On that new channel, I will be doing far more collaborations with people who are already creators, podcasters, YouTubers, on Twitch or whatever. So that'll probably be a bit more fun, because boy, Chingos, I need to have more fun. The sort of lack of output recently has been, it's been such a struggle to find much positive to talk about, and I just feel like I've been ploughing the same field over and over and over again. So there we go. So after having all that time where we have hardly even spoken about habitat gardening, even though thanks Glenn for the photo, Naomi for your comments. Do you remember I had a bit of a rant the other day? Oh, also Stan, if you're hanging around, if you're about, Stan, we have begun following up on your issue. On your idea, not your issue, on your idea for the time when you are no more, when you have passed on, and gifting your place as a perpetual park or reserve. So I've reached out to a number of solicitors with some expertise in that, so we'll be talking about that in detail sometime down the track. Okay, update. Remember I talked about the trees that had been removed and I couldn't find any good reason? And I was really upset about it. Well, last Monday in my street, a large significant... Oh, great, Stan. I'm glad you're here. Very good. Last Monday, a mature eucalypt. Oh, good. Here we go. So let's pop those up. So Stan's interested to hear about that. Naomi is interested to hear about that too. So yeah, hopefully we can make some ground and get an interview lined up in the coming week. It might take 2, might take 3. These, not only are solicitors busy people, but they generally have kids and they have football or rugby or netball or something, duties on the weekend. So we'll fit that in, and I may have to do that as a pre-record and play it later, but I would really like it to be at a time where Stan can be asking questions. It's a good way to get free legal advice without actually getting legal advice, Stan. So, anyway, this great big eucalypt just up the street got taken down. And when the stump it took them all day to bring it down. And when the stump was there, I thought, maybe it had some rot. I mean, it's a tree I know well, and there were no hollows, no broken branches. It didn't look unhealthy. It was a nice open canopy. No sign of decay, no sign of rot in the trunk when it's come down. And I had a look at all the sections. They left a lot of sections there on the footpath, on the nature strip, until the next day. I went and had a look. No decay, no rot, no cracks. Just seemed to be a really healthy tree. But gone. And then yesterday, when I was coming back from the supermarket, I noticed down on the main street, the tree crew there removing a really nice Eucalyptus nicolai, willow leaf peppermint. Not unhealthy, not impinging in the power lines. They just seem to be removing eucalypts here. So anyway, I put some calls into the council and I haven't been able to find anybody to speak to about it. But I think there's a policy that they're removing eucalypts from the streetscape. I don't get it. Especially the Eucalyptus nicolai. Such valuable trees for the nectar feeders. I just think that there's someone at the council who is making these decisions that has a vision. I know I mentioned on the Bird Emergency on one of the Monday with Holly shows that the new policy seems to be that they are going with the Chinese elm as their main street tree. It just seems insane to me. Anyway, I've put in. I've actually written a letter to the council, but I haven't got anyone to target yet. But just to explain to me what the decision was to remove these trees has been based on, and what is the council's thought about retaining biodiversity, in light that every time there's a new building developed, all the plants are just removed. It seems crazy to me. Huge Possum. Hello, Hugh. What a delight on Instagram. That's a big surprise. Hugh, I hope you are able to join in. Hugh, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, it's much easier to interact on those platforms. But hey, that was great to see. Hugh, if you are still here and still watching, I might just say there is an email in my drafts folders that I'm about to send out to you, because I've been noticing. Tell me, folks, are you subscribed to the Biodiversity Council's email list? And have you checked out the latest article in the Conversation about what the New South Wales government is moving towards with its offsets, biodiversity offsets? So, yeah, just in case Hugh is still watching or listening, I'm looking for some input to get someone from the Biodiversity Council in Australia, on to talk about a lot of these issues. But the urban biodiversity losses are, it's really disheartening. And it's one of the things I want to highlight between what seems to be happening in the UK with their new government and their pledge to build 1.5 million new homes in over 5 years, but redeveloping what's known as the Green Wedge, but all kinds of places, because Britain really needs housing, the same as Australia does. But they seem to have a slightly different leaning on, they're going to force development on people. And I think that's a fair enough thing to do when you need 1.5 million or more houses, public houses. But that it seems that the kind of clearing that we allow for development may not be allowed, but maybe that's not the way it will shake out. But I want to have the discussion about what are the parameters for development, trying to retain urban biodiversity and that interconnectedness that we've talked about before. And there's so many good programs out there, like one that I'm trying to get onto one of the shows, Nature Connected Neighbourhoods. You know, the Butterfly Highway that is trying to be developed, that a program in Australia for schools, but it's a really vibrant sort of citizen science project and committed naturalists programs in the UK. And it would be a real shame if that good work was undone by much needed development. Anyway, we will we'll get down there. So, good news today. I've noticed, not today, this was a couple of days ago, I've noticed a pair of Nankeen kestrels have moved in near to me, and I know I've brought up many times that it's Australian hobbies and peregrine falcons that I usually see around here. Naomi. Oh, good. We'll get into that. Let me finish my thought about the kestrels. Now, what I immediately thought about when I saw the female kestrel, yesterday morning, actually flew past a bus stop that I was at, and it was one I don't usually go to, but there was there's a new 2-story townhouse just been built at the bus stop, and all the vegetation again was removed from that from that block. But I remembered that there was quite a scraggy old eucalypt that was in a state of decay, I must say, at the back of the block. And it may well have been, may well have had a small hollow that the kestrels may have been using, because this female seemed to be scouting, looking for maybe she was looking for a hollow, I don't know. But she didn't look like she was looking for a vantage point to do some more hunting. But she was zipping around looking for something, moving around. But she didn't seem to be on the hunt. I didn't see a male anywhere. I just saw the female. Anyway, that was nice because I infrequently see black-shouldered kites in this area, and I very infrequently see brown falcons and sometimes see goshawks. Occasionally I'll see a bigger eagle, but they're not usually, they seem to be on their way to somewhere else. But the Australian hobbies are here regularly, and I'd like it if the kestrels can find somewhere. But if the council's removing all these mature trees, the chances of them finding hollows are... and I'm also concerned about the red rumps around here. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just find out what I can and report back, and we'll see if. I don't see any nest boxes around here. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's the actual demographic mix of people around here that. That means people are not doing what you see in many of the older established neighbourhoods. And I think it's because we're mostly renters around here. I think they're people who live here for a shorter period of time. And there's the investors, the property investors, who are buying and redeveloping. So, anyway, I'm going to try and find silver linings where we can. Let me go back and see if anyone's been on Insta. No. Yeah. Yes, Naomi, it is sad, and I share the sad weepy tears. So, Naomi, the follow-up on the the mysterious hanging vegetation from the pub. So you to catch people up, the conversation was that there was this really good creeper that was planted in a planter box that was sort of behind where people were sitting, and it was cascading over and hung down, almost to the ground, and it was good habitat, and there were birds using it, honey eaters of... I can't remember which honey eater you said was using it. Anyway, Naomi has got a friend who works near the pub and went to have a look, and the pub has been revamped and all the vine has been taken away. There we go, redevelopment. What's the first thing that goes in redevelopment? Vegetation. Yes, so yeah, it is sad. Naomi, thanks for chasing that up. Thanks for having that that thought. Oh, I've just seen some more people jumping in. Few extra eyes on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. So anything you want to talk about? Any questions? Any horticulture questions? I went to the library and grabbed a bunch of good gardening books from the shelves, and a couple of them have given me some good ideas for people to request to interview and talk to. So we'll be doing that. What else would I like to tell you? Did you catch up with the Australian Energy Market Operator, AEMO? The CEO coming out and saying that the plan for nuclear in Australia, nuclear energy, is not viable. So that was good. But I watched a lot of the US Republican Party National Conference, and I listened to Donald Trump's 90-minute plus extremely boring and crazy speech. But in that speech, he said if he becomes president, America is going to drill more for oil and gas, is going to sell more oil and gas to the world than ever before, and they're going to make it the cheapest that it has ever been. And he's going to put a 200% minimum tariff on electric vehicles from China. Now, considering there are Telstras sitting on the wharf, or not on the wharf, they're actually adjacent to the wharf here in Melbourne. I think there's close to 1,000 of them sitting on unsold in Australia because they're too expensive compared to the Chinese cars. I'm not very confident that we're going to see the United States, if Trump becomes the president, doing anything positive in climate policy. So hopefully the change of government in the UK and their apparent reaching out to their European neighbours again can see some more positive things going on. And I'll just let you know too that I'm trying very hard to find positive things to talk about. And I'm going to put a lot of focus in the next month or so reaching out to people from India, the subcontinent, Africa, East Asia, Southeast Asia, the Pacific, where people are making a difference, and Europe and the UK, if I can find people. And I really fear that we're just going to have to, hopefully the climate deniers, as Naomi says. Naomi, I'm glad that I wasn't the only crackpot watching the RNC conference. Naomi, you didn't happen to watch the feed of the RNC conference that the Majority Report did you? Because that made it bearable and fun. And I was also checking out a couple of the UK political channels that were streaming the RNC as well, and that made it bearable. But yeah, the messages that were coming out of that, apart from the sycophantic adoration of Donald Trump, the actual policy messages are really quite bizarre. It's as if the evidence of the shifting climate and the increasing frequency and severity of natural disasters around the world, and indeed in their own country, I think there were close to 36 deaths in Houston due to heat stroke. And Houston has been without power. Parts of Houston have been without power for going on a couple of weeks now. In their huge, extreme heat event in the south and the east of the US. It's as if none of that is there. So, I should have said goodbye to Instagram. I always forget. That's the thing. I always forget to. I just always forget to say goodbye to Instagram before the stream cuts off. Okay. Naomi says, you love the Majority Report. Great show. That's interesting. Luke Beasley's great, and so is Adam Mockler. Naomi, I'm glad we found a fellow traveller here. I want to speak to a lot of these people, and I've reached out to quite a few of the people you've mentioned here, and they're willing to talk, but putting them on the Bird Emergency channel would just be nutso. So you will find conversations with a couple of the people you have mentioned there coming up on Not Just Another Podcast. But I'll share all those links as we go around we go. I've got to say, Naomi, I've given Pacman away because his take on Gaza and Israel is just insane. I can't deal with it. Anyway, I've completely kept all that kind of commentary off this channel because I don't think that will do this channel any good at all. But yeah, got to be honest, Naomi, I'm not even trying to have discussions with people on from the US pretty much on anything to do with climate. It's either too depressing for them or they're insane. Another update too. While we've been discussing what's going on, Twitter removed the ability for me to live stream to Twitter unless I want to pay them $17 a month. You can't stream any longer, even if you just do the $8 a month. That you can't stream. You have to go to the next premium level. So I'm thinking I'll just go to using Twitter as a notice board again, and I'm at a loss. Has anyone noticed? Well, no, I'm not going to. Sorry, looking down. I've just got a message from Claire Greenwell on LinkedIn, which I had been trying to get a Claire back on the show too. So that was good. Anyway, anyone on LinkedIn? If you're on LinkedIn, feel free to find me. There is a bird emergency page, which I have been neglecting. Now, I would like to stream to the bird emergency page on LinkedIn, but I have to have 250 followers on the page. So if you'd like to do that and follow and, help out, that would be great. But we'll just see. Anyway, it's just so depressing. It's just so depressing that you have to be clickbaity. Oh, where I was going to go is, have you noticed? Have you noticed? If you're on Apple, if you get your Apple news feed, and if you have a look at even the ABC news feed and any of the Channel 7 or The Age or anything, have a look at how much crap is in the news feeds. And then you understand why all of the Australian outlets are now chasing celebrity crap and anything that's real clickbaity, because Meta is no longer going to pay them like they had for 3 years for news content. So they're all built on models, and because the ABC is being basically starved of funding, even though if you look at their budget, they're still getting the same or more money than they were before, but they're now producing all this regional and local content for those audiences, and they're doing so much more with the same amount of money. Look at all the different channels, that radio channels, and that are funded now by the ABC. Even though so much of it is online, it's not all terrestrial, but there's so much more content. Glenn, I'll try and find you. What I'm going to do, sorry, I'm jumping around all over the place. So to actually try to drive engagement and money, because you've got to get engagement to get advertisers, and you've got to get eyeballs. So all these places that used to have good news and good interviews, it's just full of rubbish. And that's basically the fault of Meta, Instagram and Facebook. X is ridiculous. Thanks, Naomi. I'm going to bring that up. It's a shame, but really paying is not on. You're giving content. They only want right-wing content. I thought I was getting good eyeballs on Twitter, but I think it was all bots. I think the idea is that they want to convince you that doing stuff on their platform is a good idea and that you should pay for it. And I considered paying for it, at least trying it out for a month. I don't know. I still may try it out for a month. But then I thought, if I'm going to spend money on ads, I might, it may be a better idea to spread the word, to actually pay for some advertising on Facebook or even on YouTube. But we haven't done much habitat gardening today, have we? I've hardly had any questions, but the comments are good. I'm enjoying the Saturday morning comments. Folks, I might even change this time slot to not just another podcast. We'll just wait and see. That reminds me. So I'm just looking to see if my... oh yeah, there we are. Now, gang, folks, if you are interested, we are currently now live streaming on the Not Just Another Podcast YouTube channel. So I'm guessing if you search on YouTube and look in the live, just on the YouTube page, and look in live, you'll probably see it. That would give you an opportunity to subscribe to that channel. So there we go. Oh, and we'll see if anyone has taken it up. I'll let that go for now. So I really enjoy streaming. I love the feedback, but there are not many people doing live content in the bird and gardening space. God, I hate that. In this market sector. But I really like the interaction. So I may be forced to go back to making, or to move towards just making videos for these channels, doing the interviews live, but not really making that the focus. Because I've been doing it long enough to know that, Anyway, look, I don't know, but I got, Anyway, I'm just rambling now. We've done enough, I think, for today. If you've got some gardening questions, some bird questions, have you also been looking on Facebook at the Australian Bird ID group? Oh, there's been some interesting things popping up on there too. So, all right. Naomi, you were saying you loved the Majority Report. Let's talk about the Majority Report for a minute. Did you listen when Michael Brooks was on? Oh, Naomi, that's good news. Yes, very good. I think you may have seen a spangled drongo. That would be quite possible. Somebody saw a spangled drongo in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne in the last fortnight. So, with a photo to prove it. So yeah, that was cool. I'm glad you saw that. That reminds me, and that's with Hugh Possingham being in the Instagram audience earlier on. I don't know. I hope Hugh stuck around. That would have been great. I'll email him and let him know later on. Naomi, where was I? Naomi, did you used to listen to Majority Report when Michael Brooks was part of the team? Okay, you can't find Just Another Podcast. Okay, I will put these links up in the community posts I'll do that as soon as we finish streaming today. I will put these links in the community post section of the Bird Emergency, and they'll expire after EU. Hang on, Naomi. Let me. How can I do this? I'm going to open up my Canva. I'll show you the artwork because it's very easy to find. I made I'm going to have to edit this, aren't I? Okay. There we are. Now that's one of the old episodes, interviews I did with, because it used to be like a business podcast, right? But you can see that the red and black, not just another podcast. That's the artwork. That square highlighted box there. That's the artwork for that channel. And I haven't surfaced it for years, but it's still there. We're streaming to it at the moment. So, and there's nobody, I don't think there's anybody watching on there. So there we go. So there we are, Naomi. That's the artwork for that. Anyway, I'll put the links up, and we can go from there. Good. Naomi's found it. Fantastic. That's what we like. Yeah, found it. All right. So it's years since I've done anything on these channels. Fantastic, Naomi. I know I used to have some subscribers on it, but it was a very different focus, and I think I actually hid the channel, and then resurfaced it. So that would have been a reason why people left, but because it was real business focus, and that was what I was going for, and I had a bit of fun, but I got distracted. But I can tell you, tell you what I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to unlist these. I'm unlisting our streams. So that I can effectively end these streams. Oops. No, I can't. Okay. Damn. Damn. All right. All right. I'm just going to. Who have we got here? Oh, great. So, thanks, Naomi. I can see that you're on not just another podcast. Great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the. I'm ending the stream on the bird emergency,